This vodcast will aim to address the implications of sports delivery systems through the successful development of an Australian sports person. In this case, AFL star Kevin Sheedy. This vodcast will analyse the implications of individuals, organisations and events prevalent in the development of their sport and sporting success to determine the extent of the role sports delivery systems play in making AFL available to its participants. Kevin John Sheedy is an important figurehead in the sport of AFL in various roles. I have selected Kevin Sheedy as the focus for this study due to the large contribution he has made to the sport as an athlete, a coach, and through development of the game from grassroots to elite sports management and media. He's a true blue Aussie who's shown toughness, compassion, and changed the face of the Australian game, as portrayed in Kevin Sheedy, an autobiography published on the 31st of October 2017. Sports delivery systems pertain to the provision of sport which caters for the needs of the participant through a framework of agencies and organisations. These agencies work at various levels to provide sports competitions and services in a manner which accommodates for variations in skill, location, and sport specificity. An understanding of sports delivery systems is crucial to focusing on what sports delivering to the individual. This understanding allows us to determine inhibitors and promoters in regards to individual participation and progression in a specific sport, so that it can be made accommodating for all, bettering the sport and the sports industry as a whole.
Starting at this end, we can see how his interest developed through childhood activities with his brother and sports culture, and furthered into college as he participated in local and sport recreational tier team sports at St Ignatius College. Furthermore, in 1965, he played for the Tri-Boys under-16s local club sport team until at the age of 16 when he was too old to go back to that team. In 1966, he played for the Prahran's under-19s VFA club, which was a regional sports competition, until he was spotted by a Richmond talent recruiter in his zone, which placed him in the VFL band. At the time, the VFA, Victorian Football Association, clashed with the Victorian Football League in regards to player clearances, and so Kevin Sheedy moved without having player clearance and received a 5-year ban in consequence. This meant that his transition between the organisations was either a flip or a flop. Joining Richmond in 1967 to 1981, he competed at a national club sport level. Before and after, he was conscripted for 2 years in 1969 and coached a squadron within the army. This gave him his first coaching experience, which proved invaluable later in life. In 1978, he played on the Galahs squad, which is an international Irish tour, until he was injured after the first game, but still remained on the tour. For the Australian National Football Council, which later became the AFL, in 1981, he took up a coaching role at Essendon, which was under the VFL at the time, and progressed into AFL in the 90s on the national club sport level yet again. In 2008, he took up a coaching opportunity for the Galahs squad at an international level, and furthered his sport and game development experience through the AFL over the time, developing games and events such as the Anzac Day event and Dream Time at the G, which commemorates special populations amongst our community. In 2009 to 2012, he took up a coaching opportunity for the Greater Western Sydney Giants at, again, a national club sport level. In 2005, he went back to Essendon as a general manager and commercial development innovation officer, again under the AFL League at a national club sport level. Finally, in 2017, he won the Victorian Sports Award for Outstanding Contribution to Sport. These make up his top 10 achievements and successes. Other agencies and individuals which may have contributed to Kevin Sheedy's sports development, besides the ones listed previously, include Tom Hafey, who taught him how to play the game through strategy, development and fitness, and also taught him a lot about development of the game and its athletes, as shown through his coaching experience at Essendon, when, as quoted, Kevin Sheedy took everything that wasn't nailed down to Windy Hill. Also the media. Kevin Sheedy was a master of manipulating the media to get the results and attention he wanted from sports followers and enthusiasts. This is seen by his depiction of a rivalry between soccer and AFL at a media conference for 2 sports matches being held on the same day at Melbourne in October 2005. As referenced on page 103 of his autobiography, Sheedy's words spurred supporters into standing by their sport and attending both matches instead of clashing to reduce attendance numbers. As paraphrased by Shilbury's text, Sports Management Australia, Sports development focuses on the elite athlete for their skill progression and attraction of crowds, as well as mass participation at lower levels of the participation pyramid to improve individuals' health and skill, whilst focusing on community. Examples of this can be seen through Kevin Sheedy's experience progressing through skill levels and the organisations which govern them. Sheedy's personal experience showed that the sports systems and competitions in place at the time allowed him to develop the appropriate skills necessary to develop and progress through pathways. However, progressing between organisational teams proved to be difficult at the time. This is seen through his inability to play in an age-appropriate club at the age of 16 and the transition between VFA and VFL agencies. These examples show how when there's a disagreement between agencies or inaccessible pathways to sports progression, it could deter less motivated players and even put the athletes' careers on the line, as seen by the resultant 5-year ban.
Kevin Sheedy was the innovator of sports delivery and development in AFL. His focus was always upon including all participants and spectators, irrespective of their culture or ethnicity. Sheedy was heavily involved in the expansion of AFL as a sport by appealing to its fans and expanding its culture, as reflected on page 174, contemplating, "We have to give the people a reason to attend." He became heavily involved in the development of several game events, such as the Anzac Day match, Dreamtime at the G, and Country Games for regional Australians. He also considered the use of facilities and was heavily involved in the development of Coliseum stadiums, which are constructed to seat large crowds at regulation fields, unlike the egg-shaped fields of Windy Hill or the seating at Glenferrie Oval's Sardine Tin. These types of fields were unable to cater for the needs of spectators and the development of the sport. Sheedy was also instrumental in many sport development programs, which saw the recruitment of interest in young sports people across Australia. One such example is through Dean Rioli's extract on page 187 of Sheedy's Autobiography. Here he contemplates the efforts Sheedy put in not just for him to achieve 100 games despite injury, but for all Australian sportsmen, holding him in high regard for being the front runner in giving Indigenous boys a chance to play AFL. These actions enable the ethnic expansion of the sport through acceptance of various cultures to better the mass participation of individuals, and as seen in recent years through athletes such as Dean Rioli, increase the sport's talent pool. Kevin Sheedy demonstrated the depth of his knowledge in regards to sports delivery systems by a means of professional experience. The knowledge gained from an individual with a lifetime of experience within sport has taught me a great deal in regards to not only the development of sport through programs and pathways from the perspectives of participants and coaches, but surprisingly the value of having values. One thing that made Kevin Sheedy not only get results from his players, but also what got him his job in sports and skill development for AFL, was that he was a people person with compassion for his community and a mind keen to learn and self-improve to get the best results. It's crucial to have a good first interaction with your sport to convince first-time participants that a sport is worthwhile their time and energy. Kevin made sport fun and engaging at all levels for his players. It's through the study of Kevin Sheedy's personal experience in AFL that we've discovered the important role that sports delivery systems can play in the development of sport to produce successful athletes. Through this analysis, we've seen how Kevin Sheedy's experiences in roles of an athlete and coach have differed, and under the influence of individuals, events, and organisations as time and the sport itself progresses. How Sheedy struggled through sports agencies to become an elite athlete and find himself in a supportive role as a coach and development officer is an awesome insight into how the sport and its players can progress if the structures are in place.